Undergrunt Podcast Network.
There's no earthly way of knowing
which direction they are going.
There's no knowing where they're rowing.
Or which way the river's flowing.
Is it raining? Is it snowing?
Is a hurricane a-blowing?
Not a speck of light is showing.
So the danger must be growing.
Are the fires of hell a-glowing?
Is the grizzly reaper mowing?
Yes, the danger must be growing.
'Cause the rowers keep on rowing!
And they're certainly not showing
Any sign that they're slowing!
Let's
In a small little ship in the center of Mars was a sack of souls with experiment scars. When the second of the monk said, I'll take two, and he put them in a rocket and he ate a lot of glue. And he shot them straight to Earth where they turned into babies. They were named from that, and they rarely got rabies. And the monk made a movie of their whole entire lives. They were panoramic scenes and zooms of the thighs. One time Bob had sex with a ladle, and one time Matt lost a vet to a cradle, and another time Bob caught a dinosaur mom, and another time Matt bought a replica of Guam. And all this and more is on a DVD set, only $20.99 with the purchase of a gem. But if you call right now and say, where's my whisk, we'll include this bonus disc.
Oh, welcome to Bonus Disc, the useless, doesn't need to exist, shapeless, formless movie podcast. That's basically how did this get made, but we just want to fucking relax and do a podcast for once.
Nuke
movie
the fridge,
podcast.
crunch.
Fuck y'all!
Yeah, and with me is the other host.
I don't like it.
You don't like it. You don't. You're going to deal with it. Matt P.A.
Hi. I want to be a co-host.
Why? You just want to know what it feels like?
Yeah. I want to live like in the dregs with the real people.
I thought he was
for a little
assistant.
while.
It doesn't matter, Matt.
I want to live like common people.
This is
It's
anarchy.
A pulp song. Look it up. It's great.
This is anarchy. It doesn't matter. And with us, that watched two, well, I want to say two movies. He watched two videos with us. It was Curt Schmelz of local music fame.
It was fun stopping at the Errol's on the way here.
Yeah. Those boxes are so large. Why did they waste so much space? Remember CDs too? They used to come in those things that were
Why were they so big?
Why would you do that?
Big was cool. It was like a shoulder pads for CDs and
Yeah.
video cassettes back then.
Just needlessly useless garbage attached to everything. We watched two things. The first thing we watched was the ButterCream Gang.
Hell yeah.
And the second was Benji Takes a Dive at Marineland, plus some other thing that was on the video.
Benji at work.
Benji
Getting
at
that
work.
in.
Benji at Work was a superior film.
Well,
It wasn't
We'll get into that. That's the second half hour of the show.
All right, so first, the ButterCream Gang. Matt, this is your baby. You wanna describe what this thing was?
all right. So this is a movie that you get forced to watch in school. And I saw it at least 3 times in middle school, and it was ingrained in my brain.
They
I
made
never-
you watch that
Yes,
3
At
times?
least. I was like, damn, it's the ButterCream Gang again.
Did you go to school in Elkridge?
No, I did not. I went to school in Baltimore City, and I had to watch this fucking movie 3 times at least, and I just remembered it being really fucking cheesy.
Dude,
But
it's
all right,
overly
it's
sentimental.
insane. It's basically a
It's-
Hallmark card for 45 minutes.
Oh no, it's like a Hallmark Channel movie for kids. A Christian Hallmark Channel movie for kids,
Yeah.
right?
Pretty
Was
much.
it quite Christian, or was it just so overwhelmingly
know
positive
about
that it
that.
was Christian?
Don't Hallmark movies have comic relief somewhere in them?
Yeah, there was
At
nothing
some
fun
point-
in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made fun of a fat kid. That was like the closest thing to comic relief was like, oh, the fat kid jumped on a guy. Or
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay, all right, the
it's a
plot of
movie.
it- Yeah,
Wait, it's
go
a
ahead.
movie that was filmed by a company that is located in Elkridge, Maryland.
No, I don't know if they're located in Elkridge.
That's what I
looked
thought
up
Kurt
their-
you
the
said
movie
that.
took place in Elkridge.
Okay.
They show them delivering Elkridge papers and stuff. And they talk about Elkridge.
Okay,
But it was
But it
clearly filmed in like Montana or something.
I don't know about
because there's
clearly.
gigantic-
It took a
There's
little
so
bit
many
of
wheat
internet
fields.
sleuthing.
Wait a minute. You're gonna you forced me to believe this, and now you're gonna be like, well, I don't know about it.
No, I'm saying it took internet sleuthing. I had to look up the exact like corner store they're going to. That's why I knew it was in Utah, because those only existed in Utah.
That corner store doesn't exist, Kurt. It's not real.
No, that
crap.
corner store. It existed in the film. They filmed in front of it. It's real. It's in Utah. I looked it up. I saw a picture of it.
All right, fine, whatever. That's insane.
Either way, it takes place in Elkridge, Maryland.
There aren't mountains that big in Elkridge.
The fictional universe of Elkridge, Maryland.
It's
because if you're gonna put a movie based in Maryland, you want to go with something popular like Elkridge.
It's like if it's like a person in the 90s was in a coma, having a coma, but they grew up in the 50s, and then they didn't know what life was anymore. Like
that might be what Elkridge is
about
like.
Existence, and it was just this horrible hodgepodge of 50s weirdness and modern garbage. That's really what it was.
This thing was like Americana out the ass, but it didn't make any sense what time it was.
No.
Yeah.
They were like super old cars, but they have like Michael Jordan posters.
And Australian people are allowed in the United States.
Yeah, there was an Australian DJ that was clearly like a 90s joke to have an Australian DJ.
Wait a minute.
I guess that was a joke.
He wanted neon shoelaces. That's pretty 80s.
Yeah.
He did want
maybe
neon
90s.
shoelaces. All right, you gotta say what this is. Look,
describe the movie, because
the ButterCream Gang is a group of kids that just run around and they do good things on the surface level. We'll get into what they really accomplish later. Then one of their own, the captain of the Buttercreamers, is going to move to Chicago to help his sister or his aunt raise her children
that we never see.
That you never see one time. You only see
the movie just starts like that too. It starts, as Kurt said, how a sequel would start. Like, oh, by the way, you've seen all these characters, so just jump in.
Yeah, I elect you to be the new captain of the Buttercreamers. Whatever.
Because we watched the VHS, I thought it started like on a place on the VHS that was not the beginning. Because it felt like the middle of the movie. Yeah. Everyone's just like, "You're leaving." Like, who are you? Why do I care about you leaving?
What's happening? So one of them goes to Chicago to help raise these kids. The rest of them stay there. The one in Chicago joins a gang because
Cholo.
He becomes a fucking Cholo in Chicago, and then he gets in such trouble there, he gets shipped back to Elkridge. Basically, she's like, pack your bags, you're out of here. I'm shoving you in a box on wheels. And
her hypothetical children we never saw. We're talking about how cool it was to be in a gang because of him.
God, what a piece of shit. Fucking Pete.
Well,
what a dick.
And the movie, I was not expecting this movie to be this, because the movie's essentially like I said, Goofus and Gallant of gangs.
Yeah.
Because he leaves the Gallant gang in Elkridge, Maryland to go to the Goofus gang.
It's
like
all
the
about
ButterCream gang is
I don't
a
think
force of pure good.
To be fair, I think the ButterCream Gang was the title, and it was supposed to be about how they were the Buttercreamers who became the ButterCream Gang in Chicago later. I really think this much thought was put into this. Because they never talk about the ButterCream Gang.
The ButterCream Gang.
Yeah, because they never talk about the ButterCream Gang until way later in the movie. They just call them the ButterCreamers.
There is a point.
I'm the original ButterCreamer. You're the ButterCreamers. It's not till Pete comes back that he's like, it's the ButterCream Gang, when they're talking about like their real gang.
A club. He calls them a club at a point in the movie. He goes, "It's your fucking club." He doesn't say "fucking."
Yeah.
Well, they consist. Okay.
All right. Anyway, trying to get through the plot really quick so we can talk about everything else.
Right.
The guy comes back. He's a shithole. He starts a fucking evil gang. He robs a store. Everybody just goes way over the top in trying to
give you an image. It's like Pleasantville, sort of. Like this place is like really just pure and good. And this guy has sin all over him from Chicago, and he brings it to the community, and they can't take anything.
He brought color there. They all started having orgasms.
Right, yeah. That was my favorite part, when that kid had an orgasm on his Christopher Robin legs. All the kids in this movie had the legs of Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh.
I wish you never said it, because after that, it was just like anytime anybody was wearing shorts, I was like, this is weird.
Their feet are too small. Like their ankles just they taper into nothing.
Down. Yeah, everybody kind of did. It was weird.
Yeah, it's odd looking.
It's a weird thing when someone says that guy has Christopher Robin legs, and you're like, yes, he does.
Yeah,
they just agree immediately because you know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's not something you think would be possible.
I had a very clear image in my head when he said it, and I was like, yes. Now that you mention it, they all do have little weird tiny feet leg.
Christopher Robin legs.
The kid who's evil. I wrote some notes down during the movie. The kid who turns evil, they really, really push the fact that his parents are fucking
they're
dead.
Dead as shit.
Like the first thing he says is like, "You're my best friend." It's like like the relationship we have is the closest I'll ever have to a real mom. Or
No,
something.
he says,
No,
he
he
says
said that's
I'm
why
moving to
he's going-
Chicago.
yeah,
he's going
This
to
is the
Chicago,
only
she's the
chance I
closest
have
right.
for to get a real mom.
Yeah.
Chicago's your only chance for real mom, apparently.
Yeah.
In
He gets on that bus.
1980,
Because my parents
Elkridge,
are dead. He
Maryland.
doesn't just say that. He then goes, because my parents are dead. Like,
Elkridge,
it's
Maryland's a
getting clear
classy
that-
town. Ain't no one gonna have a fucking kid that's not their kid. They're like, sorry, you need to go somewhere like Chicago to get a real mom, kid.
You if you want to see a kid in like with only like 2 scenes difference, go from Oshkosh Bagasse to dressing like a cholo street thug. This
And
is
he's
your
wearing a
movie.
weird like sweater vest. And then he comes back and he's got one button bandana on, like dress pants with a chain wallet. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's so insane.
He kept flipping around between like a greaser, a cholo, and like a I don't know, like a punk.
The best way is the
Right?
way that scene where they introduce him.
None of it really matched.
A
anything.
90s punk.
Where the remember where the
90s
scene where
punk
the old
kid, not a
buttercreamer,
punk
the
rock.
main buttercreamer, I forget his name, the one who wasn't the fat kid.
Scott!
Was that his name?
God
Scott.
damn it, Bob. This movie's teaching you a lesson. You remember their names of Scott and Peter.
Remember when Scott walks in the kitchen and sees him? He's back in town for the first time.
He's
sitting
eating peanut
at the
butter and
kitchen
Pepsi?
table and he's eating peanut butter. There's a
sandwiches.
lot of Pepsi product placement in this movie. Like part of the plot is one of the kids singing the Pepsi theme from the 90s.
No,
What is
because in Elkridge, Maryland, the only form of entertainment kids have are retelling
Retelling
commercials to each other.
God, that's such a.
Because what was
Okay,
it?
hold
They
on a
said
minute.
thing where
Yeah, he's just like, he's always got a new commercial.
Commercial.
Oh, I'm falling and I can't get up. And it's
And
just
he
like,
does
he
do
always
it.
got a new
And he acts
commercial.
like, when I was in Chicago, I saw
saw
commercials.
you wouldn't believe it.
Like, does no one have a TV here?
Moving pictures on a glow box. Yeah, it's insane. That's why I said it was like a
The
coma
talkie.
patient.
No, but he would tell
Because, like,
commercials before he left Elkridge. They had a thing where it's like he always would
No,
talk
yeah,
about
and then
that
he
Coke
showed
commercial
back up
that we
and
call a
did it
Pepsi
again.
The other
commercial.
kids act like he knew something that they've never experienced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they're too busy praying with their families and having their
Can we
dad tell them
talk about
stories
this?
about Vietnam vets and shit. They don't have time for TV.
They talked about him every day of their lives as far as the movie was concerned. Every day it was like, Pete was like this, ha! Or like, did I get a letter from Pete yet? And then they would have conversations like, man, I can't, when Pete
For people who didn't just watch this movie, it passes over like a year or a year and a half between he
like
leaves
a
and comes
minute and a half.
back.
Scott writing like sensual letters to Pete.
All right, they are not sensual.
They're overly sentimental.
No, they are not even sentimental. They're just they're like an autistic person writing to a wall somewhere. They're just like, school was okay. I did a thing. It was really, I mean, if you listen to what he was
Yeah.
saying, it was fucking terrible. It was
You were right. I got a teacher again this year.
I did. They didn't just stick me in a room with a pig.
The kids in this movie aren't kids. They're like kids that are half soccer mom, half from the 50s.
Yeah, here's
it's
what-
weird. They're not.
Well, they have to be
children.
old enough to
This
take
is the
care of
biggest-
old widow.
Yeah, oh man, the widow Jenkins. There's so much to cover. It's-
Widow Jenkins is this old woman who all
There's
she
like
does
a-
is fall over.
There, wait. There's like this scene of them playing bass. Look at Kurt, man. Look at Kurt's face. There's a scene of them playing baseball, which goes on way too long. It's like 12 minutes straight of them playing baseball.
Baseball.
Then this girl runs over like a Glen or some shit and says, "Hey, the old widow Jenkins fell."
Just like, we gotta go.
The 3 kids that are the buttercreamers who are currently playing a game that is going on go, "We gotta go."
No, there was practice. It was baseball practice.
Yeah,
And
right.
the coach is the priest, and they're like, "We got to go save Miss Jenkins."
The priest says,
Damn it.
okay.
No, the priest goes, "Where are you going?" And they're like, "We got something more important to do." And then a priest says, "What could possibly be more important than baseball?" And I was like, "What?
Maybe Christ.
Yes, fuckhead. The Bible, you dick."
Oh,
And then
man, so I think in that point, I think like this girl, like the Widow Jenkins' house is over the Glen.
Yeah,
but
like
no,
it's on the other side of the
we
field,
get like a
baby.
3-minute montage of them going what must be like 5-6 miles to her house. Then they gotta break in.
They jump over like 3 creeks on their way there.
That is the one thing that needs to be explained if I ever meet anybody who's associated with this. How did that little girl know she fell over in the house if the house was locked up
from the outside.
from the inside?
I'm telling you,
Inside.
she was in the house. She saw her fall over, locked the house up, rode her bike 15 miles down the road, told someone. I'm pretty sure she's trying to collect life insurance. Probably that little girl.
She falls over a lot. She fell over at the end of the movie again.
That's true. I'm pretty sure the Widow Jenkins. The Widow Jenkins. All she does is knock over.
We're also not
Knock
pointing out
over.
the fact that the ButterCream Gang was the sole like entity
Yeah.
called to help a woman in medical turmoil.
Yeah,
They had to
like, she
break into
rode
her
a
house
bike
too.
4 miles instead of heading towards a hospital or a phone. She rode a bike
to
4
get
miles.
3 children.
Yeah, to go to a baseball practice and go, buttercreamers, get this
The Widow
done.
Jenkins is down quick.
What am I paying my taxes for, buttercreamers? Old lady Jenkins fucking ass over elbows in there. Come on.
Look, there's only one sheriff as far as we can tell. There's no police or fire department
No,
or anything. There's no one.
They rule
Just the
this town,
Buttercreamers
man.
and the one sheriff who does show
And the
up for
thing
like
is-
half a second.
And the convenience store, Mr. Groff, points out the fact that the Buttercreamers
They've
is an
been around,
institution
yeah.
that have been around since like the 30s or
Wait, it
something.
seems even older. It seems like it's insane how
He-
far back.
Like they
this
No,
shit went.
discovered
He's-
like what they were like forging the carriages that found the land. Or
No,
something?
they were like the local boys in the town would help churn the butter.
No, that's
So
that's
why
what I
not
looked
do
up on the
something
internet.
else?
That's not actually from the movie.
No,
In the
I
movie,
thought that's what he says.
in the movie, well, yeah, he's talking about that, but it's like he says that his grandfather was the first group, like the one kid's
Oh,
grandfather.
he did
It's
say
the
that.
3rd generation. But when I looked
No,
up
it
the
was the
butter
old
churners,
man's-
that's an actual thing from Elkridge, Maryland. That's that existed since like the fucking 1800s or some shit. Where the butter churners, yeah.
They couldn't get the rights to it, probably. That's why we get the butter creamers.
yeah.
Oh, maybe it was the butter
It
creamers.
sa-
I
well, it
don't know.
sounds and also weird.
Yeah.
Buttercream.
We're the
gang.
buttercreamers. They never say gang, man. They say
I'm telling you,
buttercreamers.
Buttercream Gang was like a clever title for the movie by the writer who.
Oh, because
definitely
you're not supposed
thought-
to be in a gang.
Gangs
No,
are
but-
bad.
Man, I'm always learning.
Are we close enough to tell the? Are we close enough to tell the end where the Buttercream Gang does come to be in Chicago?
Yeah,
New
because-
gang
Hold
thriving.
on, wait.
Oh, there's so much we need to talk about.
Yeah,
That's the Buttercream Gang. They're in
We didn't-
Chicago. When he
okay.
goes back to Chicago,
What-
that's what you're missing.
one of the main ways that we know he's evil is that there's a shoplifting, right?
Yeah, he constantly.
I just want to point
shoplifts.
it out, like Kurt, you pointed it out. The fact that they don't call the things that are being stolen food,
They just call them treats.
treats. He
Over and
stole
over
a
again.
Hey, Dad, he stole a treat. Go get a treat, kid.
Dude, he steals a treat, gives it to Scott. Scott takes it to his dad and is like, I think he stole. He slams it on the table.
I think he
That
stole
was
these
like,
treats.
Like 12 hours ago, he's been sitting with this fucking treat in his pocket, and he throws it on the table. It's like,
we're not gonna say what it is.
No,
it's a
his
treat. That's
his
what it
dad
is.
acknowledges it was a
That
pie.
was a pie. He does.
Yeah.
So
say it.
it's like a Hostess pie.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's like, I think
One of those
Pete
Ninja
stole
Turtle
this.
pies.
And then
It's been in my pocket for 12
His
hours
dad-
while I've been riding a bike delivering newspapers and fucking erecting old women off the ground. Come on.
Dude, his dad might be my favorite character in the movie. Because the guy cannot say a word to save his life. He can't, like, deliver any
His
line.
dad
Yeah.
is like an early 90s, actual early 90s, like Ned Flanders. Doesn't say diddly.
Yeah.
That's like his dad.
Basically. Dude, there's a part where the dad's working on like a Model T Ford from like the 20s or something on a patio.
Further
just on a-
confusing what year this is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a fucking concrete slab in the middle of their yard while it's raining.
Yeah, there's no, like,
There's
cover.
no hood. No, nothing.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Did
There
you
was a
build
tool, like,
Yeah, there was
shelf
exposed
out
tools
there.
just exposed to the
Amazing.
atmosphere. That was so odd. Yeah.
let me go.
Well, it
let me
just
go
started
talk to my
raining.
son about this pie while it rains all over all my shit.
So,
God damn.
And also, did you guys notice that it was daytime when that happened, and
And
the
then it was
conversation was,
night-
immediately nighttime
Yeah.
once they're sitting. At
Was
the
that
porch.
right before the big speech?
No. That's not the speech about
No,
his
no.
Christian
'Cause-
friend during Vietnam.
No.
Well, because that's what turns everything around about how Scott is approaching Pete's evilness. Because he tells them the Gandhi
Wait.
thing from the Reverend.
That's at the
preach-
very
yeah.
end. That's almost the very end
Okay.
when the preacher
No,
tells
the
him.
preacher tells him at
about,
the baseball game, and then he gets his ass kicked.
But the preacher, I mean,
the preacher tells him about Gandhi too.
pretty much negating the
Oh.
Bible.
The preacher tells him an eye for an eye. That's a whole world without eyes.
Right. So he decides to be nice to Pete from
that
now
happens
on.
before he gets beat up, though. Before
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah, and then Scott
Can we
takes
talk about how
completely.
sexy that little girl was?
Jesus. There's a love story there. That's
Yeah, like,
so odd.
It's terrible.
I can't believe you can see me today, Scott.
Yeah, he kept not seeing her. It's not important.
That's
I
not
just
even
wanted to
funny.
make a
Whatever.
joke.
It's whatever. Yeah. That's all. I mean, Pete instantly got a posse when he came to town too. Like,
Oh,
For the record, I thought Matt was talking about the widow Jenkins when he talked about how hot that little girl was.
she was
her
pretty
legs
hot.
were spread pretty far apart. It was the most erotic thing in.
By the
movie.
way, when they break into the house to save her, the kid runs downstairs, goes, "Hey, Mrs. Jenkins," past her, doesn't help her to open the door so all these kids can rush into her house.
And then the widow Jenkins
he
gets
throws
up
the-
on her own.
no, they helped her up.
They
They
helped
helped
No,
her up.
she's like, "Are you okay, widow Jenkins?" She's like, "I'm okay." And then he runs past her. She says, "I'm okay," like immediately, and starts getting up.
No, then they
then
all
she gets-
come in, and then all three of them pick her up.
Then
They
she gets
sorta
them to
help her,
instantly
but-
go to the store to buy her
Yeah,
groceries.
she's like, while you're here, you mind picking up my groceries?
Like Kurt said, it's probably like a ploy. Every week she falls over so she can get that. To
no one
get
comes to
groceries
visit old lady Jenkins
Until
unless
she-
she's on the ground.
until she's disabled.
I'm doing okay right now, but if you could just, like clean the gutter, repaint my garage, and
The dad speech.
Okay.
I can't even.
The
Man,
dad tells
I
us-
lost my mind.
The dad tells a story
to his son
who just
who's
got
struggling.
his ass kicked by
Yeah,
three people.
The kid's got like a bloody nose and a black
he's
guy.
all fucked up, and he's like, "Dad, what do I do?" He's like, he tells a story about a guy who, when he was in Vietnam, he was like, I was with this guy, and every time he met anybody, he would say, "Hi, my name's Paul. What's that? Whatever, and I'm a Christian." So we gave him hell.
Yeah.
And I was like, but earlier you watched them pray before they ate a meal.
Well, he
Oh,
wasn't
he-
a Christian
like,
yet.
there's
This is
clearly-
during wartime.
This is during wartime, wasn't it? He didn't believe in God,
Put all
Matt.
that shit on hold, son.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be like, he'd be like, "I'm a Christian," and that guy killed so many of those filthy gooks or some shit like that. That's the direction I thought it was going.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna get weird and dark.
yeah.
No, but he said that the guy, like, everybody just made fun of him, but he was always willing to help everybody out, and then he got killed, and he was like,
No, the line was, and then he got killed by somebody who
Like-
absolutely hated him.
No, he got killed. He got killed for
somebody who
somebody.
absolutely.
God, that'd be awesome.
That'd be so-
He was assassinated in his sleep by this fucking guy who,
during wartime, not by the enemy. It was just a weird message. It didn't make sense to what was happening.
Yeah, and he didn't go tell.
There was no parallel.
No, this whole town is held together with morality.
This is exactly
yeah.
why I never go to Elkton, Maryland. I'm afraid of what
I
kind
wanna-
of shit I'm gonna run
I kind
into.
of want to go now just
To see.
to see where the ButterCream Gang's up to.
What if we could find that house?
Well, it wasn't
Let's
filmed
go to
there.
old lady
The
Jenkins'
house that Margaret lives at? I think the house that Margaret
Three
lives
of
at.
us. Look,
The
we
house
could
that
be
Margaret
from the
lives at was in
ButterCream Gang.
Maryland. I know the rest of it was filmed in
I love
Utah,
that
but
you're
that
so
house.
convinced that you know that building's in Maryland. You were like, I know that building's in Maryland. I don't know
Not
where
to
It
mention,
looked like a
Kurt-
house in Maryland.
Kurt, not to mention, we also all had the problem of figuring out which house was which and where we were in any given scene.
Oh yeah.
There's no like establishing shots of like the wide shots of
Look,
the building.
I saw that woman who was 4 feet tall that was supposed to be that girl's mom, and I knew that was in Maryland.
Her face was all weird looking though,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah,
knew it was an
her
old person.
mom was. The mother comes out to talk to this kid, and he's like slightly taller than her, but he looks.
He
you
looks like
assume
10
he's,
years
tiny.
old.
Yeah, he's really. They're
He's
all
supposed
really
to be 14. I read it on the box.
Can I mean,
Young. All right, hold on. I got one thing we have to talk about.
okay.
Pete, the piece of shit buttercreamer exile. His caretaker in Elkridge is this old man who is
I believe
like,
you described him as doddering.
Yeah, he is completely doddering. Just this old man. He looks like a prospector from the gold rush, but he's living in this town trying to take care of this boy. And there's a part at the baseball championships where Pete makes Scott and like fuck up hitting a home run or getting a hit or anything. He like gets him out, and he runs over and he yells at him, and then he gets thrown out of the game. And then he goes up to the old man. He's just like, "Why didn't you do something?" And he's like, "I did everything I could." And he's like, "I know. I'm sorry." And
Actually,
immediately
the old man says, "I wish I could do something." He says, "Why don't you send him back to Chicago?"
That's right.
And he goes, "Oh, I'm an old man." And then he says, "I know. I'm sorry. I know you're an old man and helpless. I'm sorry."
It was kind of a sad moment, actually.
Did they win or lose the game? I don't even know
Who
if
cares?
they told us.
Whatever. There's so much extraneous like montages that didn't have anything to do with it. Like the whole deal with like one of the kids actually hitting a home run, the fat kid. That didn't.
We didn't talk about the fat kid enough.
They hate the fat kid.
I don't even know
He's
if
not
they hate
that
him.
fat.
They
He's
just
not
point
even
out
fat.
how fat he is all the time.
God,
it's
man.
not even
He's
like
actually probably below average of your normal kid of that age nowadays
when
in
I was
America.
that kid's age, I was way fatter than him.
Dude, you look like you were in the Buttercream Gang.
Dude,
when you
I
were a
wish
kid.
I was in the Buttercream Gang.
You had those shirts.
You will
man.
be in the
I'm-
Buttercream
yeah,
Gang.
Kurt's gonna make me a back patch. I'm gonna make a whole Buttercream Gang themed vest. gonna be awesome.
Well, speaking of the fat kid, before we run out of time here, there's a sequel starring the fat kid.
Yes.
Starring the
Can
fat
we
kid.
stop calling the
That's
fat
what
kid?
he's
His name
listed
is
at.
Eldon.
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 It's
I thought
called
the poster was gonna say like starring the fat kid from the Buttercream Gang.
the sequel's called the Buttercream Gang in The Secret of Treasure Mountain. So it's like pretty much a high concept version of this movie was.
It's the Curly's gold.
This movie
of
was a
City
lesson
Slicker.
about not being bad.
The
Let's be honest,
classic.
it's just
the
not
one
like-
everyone remembers.
The moral of the story was don't be bad.
Yeah, because everybody loves you no matter what you do.
Because
so
that's
don't
why.
be-
Yeah, the
No,
kid-
it actually the moral of the story was like be bad. People will start giving you stuff for free,
Yeah.
and then
Pretty
you
much.
could
Right,
attack
we didn't even
people,
talk about
and they're
that.
still gonna reward you.
There's a point where he's robbing a grocery store, and the guy goes, "Well, if you need the money, I'll just loan it to you. That way, you're not robbing."
No, he didn't
them."
say
He's
loan
just
it
like-
to you. He said I'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
That way, you're not stealing it.
like that. Yeah.
And
well-
he's just like, "That's not how robbery works. What's wrong
yeah,
with
he
you
starts
people?"
losing his shit because he can't commit a crime.
Yeah, because everybody's just like, "I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Not going to do anything, Pete. We love you."
really important
But
though.
I hate me.
So important. At the end, they all call Scott into room. They're like, after Pete
Oh
has
my
gone back to
God.
Chicago, and you think it's gonna be like,
okay, wait.
this
goes-
is really
He
important.
goes back
Yeah.
to Chicago, right? And we don't know for a fact if he's went good or he's still bad.
Yeah, because he just left town.
No.
He left town
After smashing
so we
up
see
the
a big
store.
montage of Scott writing him letters, still corresponding,
Not answering any
not
of them.
answering anything. So then everyone in the movie that's still in the town, including the Buttercream Gang, their family, their friends,
The
the priest is all gathered around in one room, and they call Scott in, and he comes in. They all have serious looks on their faces. At this point, they're like, "Well, it's Pete. There's something we have to tell you about Pete." At this point,
And
there's
they're
no
like-
fucking way on earth Pete's not fucking
What's
dead.
even
Yeah.
worse is the dad is like, it
doesn't-
doesn't always work out for the best. It
No, he
doesn't.
says-
No, he says it doesn't always work out this way.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out
Not
this
this
way.
way.
I'm sorry. It doesn't always. I'm pretty sure he says I'm sorry first too.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It
No,
doesn't
he's
always
like,
work
I
out
want you to understand.
Oh yeah,
It
you're
doesn't
right.
always work out like
This way. Yeah.
And then
And they're
What
all
does that
just
mean? Like,
staring
maybe I
at
shouldn't-
him.
I'll let you know when to give up next
why
time.
would the filmmakers choose to throw this curveball of
No
us
idea.
guessing if he's dead or not?
Yeah, I
like
don't
it just is a
understand it.
weird thing. Because then you find out that no, he isn't dead. He went good to the point where the mayor
The mayor of Chicago is taking a
shaking
picture
his
with
head in
him.
those Chicago papers.
The headline says "New Gang Thriving."
It's
Flourishing.
yeah,
Flourishes
new
in
gang,
city.
new gang flourishing.
Like,
Like
but
that
here's
would be
the
a
thing.
headline.
When have you ever gathered okay, if you had a cousin that was like a crack addict and he stopped doing crack and he went, you know what I mean? You wouldn't like gather your family around and then look you straight in the eye and be like, it's not always like this. But Tom stopped doing crack. Like,
We all thought he was going to be dying. We're not through with him yet.
I thought at least the dad would say, like, you thought something like he was dead, right? And the
Yeah,
kid,
they make the priest read the letter, and then when he gets to the article, he makes the kid read it and realize it while
He's like,
reading it.
I've lost contact. I don't know what he's up to now, but I found this in the paper the other day. Being like, so he ran away from home, I guess, to start the nicest gang in the world. Why can't he do that from home? with
Yeah,
his
why
aunt?
wouldn't he let them know that he's not a fucking pile of shit anymore? It's the whole point of the movie.
It kind of makes me think.
he's a good person,
did they just
but
arbitrarily find
they
out about
find
it?
Look,
out
you know what?
about it.
I think Pete is fucking just like playing a PR game, and he's like, our gang's cool, but he's fucking running some crazy fucked up shit underground in Chicago.
No,
That's
he's
what
not
I
a
think.
coward, and fucking Scott challenged him to be the best buttercreamer he could be, and he's doing it.
And he did it through
And he was like, I don't
organized
need to
crime.
Tell them I'm still a buttercreamer. Fucking like beams of light are gonna be shooting out of the sky after me. I'm gonna be the biggest buttercreamer you ever fucking saw.
They don't even have a dairy industry in Chicago.
Kurt, the Buttercream Gang isn't about dairy.
It's not about boundaries. It's not about any of that.
It's
you
about-
could be in Chicago. You could be in.
I missed the whole point. I thought this was a dairy adventure.
They're like
I'm
Cape
sorry.
Crusaders of, like, you know, getting cats out of trees. That's
Which
what
they
do.
didn't do.
Yeah, you think?
No,
that they would
I'm
just
pretty
do that
sure-
as like a generic thing
Yeah.
that they do.
All they do is help.
Help old ladies play with kids and like
They
paint
paint a
fences and
fence, yeah.
deliver papers. But that's a job.
Uh-oh.
It's a choice.
That's an alarm.
Oh,
That
God.
means we're done talking about the Buttercream Gang, guys.
On to Benji Takes a Dive.
Benji takes a fucking dive at Marineland. This is a movie podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
It wasn't a movie.
It wasn't a movie.
It had a beginning, middle, and end.
I
but
thought
they
this was a
happened so
video
fast.
cassette podcast now.
This is just a VHS podcast. We watch VHS tapes with things on. No.
You know how video could mean anything almost once upon a time? This is a video podcast.
I mean,
You're watching
here's the thing.
videos.
Let me say this. I think that Joe Camp thought that was a movie.
Oh, he thought
I
so.
think the people that made that movie
he wrote it. He built all
No,
those
that's a
puppets.
documentary. Those are the
It
two
is
movies
almost-
that Benji shows up as playing herself in, according to IMDb. Those are documentaries. That's not
that's
Benji playing characters.
It's It's the first Benji's daughter, actually, in what we watched. Benji.
No, that's Benji.
That was Benji?
That was Benji playing Benji's. That was Benji playing
That was Benji playing the
not
fake-
the character of Benji.
Jesus Christ.
God damn it.
That was
There
Benji
a dog
playing
that looked
herself.
Like the Benji dog. It's
No,
fine.
but Benji was playing herself in two roles, and those were the two videos we saw, which were Benji at Marineland and Benji at work. Those are Benji playing Benji, not the character of Benji.
All right.
That was a real
Not
sentence.
entirely, because Benji Takes the Dive. It's Benji playing Benji in a hyper reality, and then
It's
and
Benji
then
playing-
Benji at work is the actual Benji
The,
working.
the plot
and
is
making a
about
movie.
Benji being famous from his
He
other
has-
work. Like, his other movies exist in Benji Takes a Dive at Marineland.
Yes, and
like
he's super famous for it, but he doesn't have a handler because he can do
He's just a
anything
fully
he wants.
functional being
He has a
in this
boat.
society.
He's sailing in a boat.
He's an
called the
architect. He
Seawolf
has a drafting table.
He
We
does
saw
He
that.
can
that.
read
Graphic
books
table.
and hold them.
and hold them. Yes,
Yeah.
he wears aviators all the time.
He
Yeah.
can have sex with puppets, apparently.
He
Yeah,
can survive like shark attacks pretty much.
Yeah, he
I mean,
avoided a shark.
he
somehow.
avoided a shark attack. Yeah. Anyway,
They
so
built an actual working scuba suit for Benji for the
pretty
movie.
awesome.
That's the real star of the show. The
I
guy who
can't-
built
yeah,
that
I
scuba
forgot his
suit.
name, but
I mean,
shout outs to the
it
guy who built
worked.
the
I mean,
suit.
like, all shittiness aside, I mean, that worked.
That is true.
Benji was totally
How are there not
diving
scuba dogs
underwater.
everywhere nowadays?
Yeah.
Before the movie started, Kurt was like, "Is there going to be any awesome shots of like Benji actually scuba diving?" And I was like, "I don't know if it's awesome, but it's there."
It's in there.
But
It
now you're all
exists.
convincing me it's awesome because it did work, but it was still kind of like
Benji
whatever.
scuba
Wait, we
dive.
haven't even
For
talked
real.
about what it was.
Yeah. So
I
you would
because
think
my memory is Benji the Hunted. That's the movie that I remember, and that's like a
almost-
almost serious like action movie with Benji. This was like a Sesame Street special.
with a dog in it. Yeah, the
Dude,
Benji
I
like
feel like
Dude,
that's
there was
unfair to
3
Sesame Street.
There's 3 dog puppets in this thing.
3 dog puppets. There
Wait,
were like
multiple
One was
other
a, one was
puppets.
a mer dog.
Yeah, there was a mermaid dog who was a
Who's a-
TV news anchor
Who never wore a shirt.
who never wore a shirt.
Yeah, her bare
cleavage
tits
was
were
really
under a
strange.
lay the whole time.
very strange choice. And she was constantly trying to fuck Benji
Because
thought
she was so
super
she was
hot.
so starstruck
Yeah.
by him too. Yeah.
All right,
By
that's-
her, Benji's a woman. We looked it up.
Yeah. So lesbian, that's fine. I don't care. It's not important.
I'm just saying he
But
said
there was
him.
also like the prospector dog that was a bulldog.
Yeah, that was his manager. Benji's manager is like a bulldog.
Right.
I feel like he's supposed to be like
He's from
Elvis's manager.
Texas.
He was like that. He was like the colonel. He's supposed to be like the colonel.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
like
then
I
not a
almost wanted,
prospector.
I wanted him to talk like Foghorn Leghorn more. Like I
He-
say.
Yeah, he didn't really do
Like
that.
because he looked like
Yeah, he's supposed to be southern
Southern.
like businessman,
Yeah.
I
like
got
tycoon.
50 southern,
Like a
yeah,
tycoon.
oil tycoon.
Yeah.
Like he started shooting
Why
his guns
that
off
would
for
be
no
the
reason.
direction you go for a manager of an acting dog? I don't
Because
know.
of the colonel for Elvis. That
yeah
actually
Oh,
perfectly
right,
makes
yeah,
sense.
Okay, and then there was
Especially in like
And there was the-
1979 when this movie came out. That
what
was
was the
still
name
relevant.
of the band thing?
Oh,
With Jesse Davis and the Mulberry
and
Bunch.
The Mulberry Squares.
Mulberry Squares.
which was Jesse Davis, whoever that is.
Yeah, whoever the fuck Jesse
And
Davis is.
him singing with sentient fruit puppets.
Yeah.
Well,
but
and
not
vegetables.
Even, and vegetables. because
There was
it
definitely
yeah.
a pumpkin and a turnip.
Yeah.
we went over
It
this.
wasn't beach themed like tropical. It was like
But he was tropically themed. He was dressed, with the giant straw hat and the weird like sash belt, and then the
singing
band
a song
had-
about Benji getting drunk before he scuba dives.
Yeah.
No, man, his first song was basically questioning whether or not Benji would die.
Yeah. That's all he did. He was just like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be fish food. Somebody's gonna eat him. He said somebody was
He's gonna
eat him.
drown.
He kept talking about a donkey getting eaten by a shark, but he was talking about a donkey and a dog too. He'd be like, "The donkey will sink, get eaten by the shark. The dog will scuba
he's just
dive."
saying doggy every time. He never said.
Oh, I
donkey.
thought he was talking about a donkey.
He never said donkey.
I don't remember that, Kurt. Come on,
That was
man.
doggy every
I
time.
said that
wait.
to you guys so many
We
times.
haven't
While we
even-
were watching, I brought up why keep talking about this donkey
You
and a
never
dog
said
separately.
any of that.
No, yes, I
we
did.
haven't even covered the
Yes, I
villain.
did.
The villain.
The villain is the best part. His
Oh, yeah.
name is Boris,
Boris
to death.
Oh my god.
His name is Boris to death. He is a vaguely Nazi commie
He's a-
German. He's just like if you took-
Everything that's evil in
He's
one
he's like a
being, he's
Dotson.
an idiot.
He's a Nazi Dotson that's also communist because he talks about destroying the Western capitalism at
Yeah, he
one
definitely
point.
does
But he
scream about
definitely
that.
speaks
But he's
with
dressed
a
like a
shitty
Nazi.
German accent
Yeah,
and
He's
is dressed like a Nazi.
Yeah, he's got
And
the-
he
he's
wants
got
to
a
kill
monocle.
Benji, which only a Nazi would
He
ever
wants to
do.
kill
even want-
Benji, and he wants to take his place and do the dive, so he's famous.
He didn't even really want to.
Well,
kill
that
him
only
at
comes up
first.
way later.
He was
He's just
willing-
talking about stealing that shit so Benji dies, and all of a sudden he's like, "I will have all the glory now, Benji!" Like out of nowhere.
No, he wasn't stealing it to kill, but he was gonna steal it to just steal the fame. But he was willing to go to the levels of murdering him when he
Look
knocked
at
him
Matt, it's-
into the Shark Tank.
Oh.
This is not my first time around trying to dissect the moral high ground and fucking Benji takes a dive. at
Benji
Marineland,
tried to
right?
kill that singer. He threw him right into those fucking like dolphins
Oh,
that
yeah.
are probably
Pit of
yeah.
dolphins.
I'm pretty
We
sure
all
they were the
know.
dolphins from Wet Hot America, not Wet Hot American Summer.
Dude, Boris.
One Crazy Summer.
Dude,
Oh
we
my
all
God.
know that dolphins are fucking evil, and that's why Japanese people kill them all the time. And they
'Cause they deserve it.
We're not doing it here more.
It said that in the credits. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Look, Boris had like 6 grappling hooks. No one wanted to
All right,
discuss
yeah,
that.
Yeah, there's a point where he's trying to fish. So to keep it
Yes,
safe, God
it's
damn
such an
it.
insane premise.
To keep the scuba suit safe, they put it in a net bag at the bottom of the shark tank.
With a sign that says "Do not touch Benji's diving gear," as though somebody would
Might look
swim to the bottom of a shark
or
tank.
that everyone knows
They
it's
want the
there, but
sharks
just
to
so
know.
people know don't take it.
Yeah,
Like
because Benji himself
was put to the god
took
damn
the
it.
task of getting it out of a shark tank
And putting
so
it
that
on
he could then
himself.
further risk his life to just merely dive when the actual feat of amazingness was not getting killed by sharks.
Yeah, when they have to stall because goddamn, we're getting all over. The
Would
place.
you say that Boris
This
till
movie's
death
not
maybe
even that
did
long.
Benji a favor by getting that out of the Shark
Yeah,
Tank
he
for
kind of did
Benji?
him a
He
favor.
really did.
Because Benji got out of the Shark Tank in like 2 seconds after Boris
Once
threw
he
him in
knocked
there.
him in,
He's just
yeah.
like, "Oh, I fell in the Shark Tank. I'm right on the surface. I'm right back out now."
Well, he's fucking
Benji was fine.
dude.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
I mean,
He probably designed that Shark Tank. We saw his drafting table.
yeah, I made Marineland, bitch. Benji, motherfucker.
I mean, this thing was, and it starred the guy who was like the commissioner of Marineland for real.
Yeah.
That guy was
As
not an
himself,
actor.
yeah.
There is no way that guy is an actor. He looked like a zombie talking.
He tried, man.
Hey, he kept hitting on that
looked-
girl puppet, that girl dog
Did
puppet
hit
though.
on her.
Everyone was
Dude,
hitting on her.
But I don't- I-
Both Boris and the manager guy hit on her, and she kept flicking them with her
PB
flipper.
bucket or something like that.
PB bucket.
Something like that.
She kept hitting them with her flipper.
PB bucket.
But she could also walk.
also,
She could walk on flippers.
Yeah, it was
like
insane.
at the speed of a grown
can
man.
we point out
Like,
that Benji was reading up on scuba diving and started scuba diving for experts and worked his way down to essentially scuba diving for dummies?
but not really. It was scuba diving made extremely easy.
Yeah,
or
scuba
something.
diving
Right.
made extremely
and the author
easy.
was hold your breath,
Yeah.
Ugh.
which is
Which made me
But
wish
he
I
was
looked at all the other
easy.
probably terrible pun author
I
names
know.
that I didn't pay attention to leading up to that.
That's why this can't possibly take place in the same reality as Benji at Work. Benji at Work is
No,
in
this
our
is
world.
reality.
dude. Benji at
It-
work.
According to IMDb, this is Benji playing Benji itself.
Benji.
This is Benji as Benji. No, but
'Cause
Benji
it's-
always plays a character, Benji. This is Benji being Benji herself, according to
But
IMDb.
Benji at
That's
work was the
insane.
behind the scenes
IMDb,
of the
you're
Chevy
wrong.
Chase film.
Yeah.
Oh Heavenly Dog.
And Benji at Marineland was listed in the same category, meaning this was a documentary about puppets actually trying to kill Benji in the real world.
No, it is a documentary though. It's a mockumentary about Benji.
Yeah.
Like
I'm pretty
Christopher
sure it's a
Guest,
documentary.
He made a Benji movie and it was Dives At
Put
Marineland.
Rob Reiner in a fish dog costume.
Right. It's pretty much the
It's
same
basically
thing.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
But all right, there is a point in the movie where there's the only like
movie.
chase scene.
Yeah.
Where
Oh my
the
god.
fish woman, I forget her name.
She hits Boris.
She hits Boris. He falls down the steps.
but he turns
which-
into a donut.
Yeah, he just turns into a tube with clothes on.
An actual inner tube.
Yeah.
It's an actual inner tube with a Nazi uniform on it.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. They just put like a
it's
Nazi
not-
uniform on an inner tube and rolled
Can I
it
point out,
down.
it's not just for the shot of him rolling down the steps. It's like
Oh,
for
why
an
he rolls for a
extended
while.
sequence of him rolling
And
everywhere.
Benji's chasing after him.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked by
No,
dolphins
he-
before
yeah.
Benji surfs. A dolphin pulls Benji surfing
Oh yeah,
One
like
Benji can
5
surf, by
feet
the
on the
They
way.
made a surfboard for Benji.
Yes.
that actually worked.
It did, but that was the equivalent. I just remember at that point in the movie, we're like, "How long is this?" I was like, "Dude, it's almost over." And I was just like, "That was the climax." Was that?
Well,
That was seriously
Matt
the
and Rip
climax of the
Taylor's son made that surfboard for Benji.
movie, which we learned later in Benji at Work, where they showed him teach him how to fucking ride the surfboard.
You guys seem surprised
God
at how
damn
much
it.
I was questioning the actual like animal cruelty of the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Oh God!
I mean, like at Benji at Work, man, they had him on that tightrope, which did not
it
seem
looked
cool.
real bad.
Yeah, like don't make a dog do that.
Yeah,
What are you
it looked
doing?
terrifying.
That's really depressing. Making him surf is bad enough.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible they made Benji do. That dog just wanted to fucking. That dog could outact everyone in Hollywood.
Oh, I'm
Dude.
convinced after Benji at Work, I'm a solid fan now. I think he's a great actor.
We need to see
Or
this.
she was, because there's no way.
I mean, we need to watch
It.
Oh Heavenly
Oh,
Dog.
yeah, Oh
I
Heavenly
know
Dog,
I've
yeah.
seen it. I'm pretty damn sure I've seen it.
I
can't believe I forgot a Chevy Chase Benji movie existed.
What other? Were there
Chevy
any other
Chase right
famous
now is
animal
so
actors?
excited that there are 3 people in America remembering that
Oh
movie right
Heavenly
now.
Dog?
They're like, oh, thank God, things are looking up. Hits for Oh Heavenly Dog are jumping up because he checks that shit on like Google Analytics every day.
Dude,
I'm
he
sure.
doesn't know what he's done in the last month versus 30 years.
No, he only knows what happened 30 years ago. That's why he's looking at Oh Heavenly Dog and like Vacation, and that's it.
One
No.
day, maybe we'll have Kurt back and to watch Oh Heavenly Dog. That's the
We'll
only
have to
thing.
find
Because
out,
that seems
dude.
like an actual movie as opposed to whatever this. Dude, this was a thing.
It was.
It
a
wasn't even
full
a
frontal
TV
assault
show.
on your
The
brain. It
ButterCream
was-
Gang went on for like 45 minutes longer than it should have. That's like
Yeah.
a modern movie.
If you cut out
That's
the-
like Michael Bay would
No,
have
that
done
movie-
something like that.
ButterCream Gang's only like 50 minutes long or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
45 minutes longer
It's
than it needed to have.
5-minute movie about don't be a bad gang.
Hey, don't join a gang. You'll probably be a fucking pile of shit like everybody in a gang. Oh, okay, I got it.
Except for the Buttercream Gang. It's the
I
one
can't
good
believe
gang.
that all these years, you always told me about Benji Takes a Dive at Marineland, and I always thought it was like this epic
this huge
movie.
Oh, that's funny.
That like Benji's like somebody leaves him in like a will, leaves him like all of Marineland.
He like runs it. I mean, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking awesome. I mean, he's fucking sailing ships around the world. He can run a
Yeah.
business.
Oh, he has his own yacht. They bring
Yeah.
that up. That
With a
Benji
picture of
owns
his face on
her
the
own
sail.
yacht. Sorry, Benji.
He has it has his face on the sail.
I mean, Benjine.
Benji.
Wait, this was
Why would
Benji though, right?
This is Benji, but I'm saying sorry, Benjine, because Benjine's more. No,
Who are we
actually,
thankful
Benjine the
for?
Third. Whichever Benji is alive right now, I'm sorry for disrespecting your family.
Just remember,
None of these dogs are alive.
they're all dead.
I'm sure.
No, I bet
I'm
They're
sure there's like a
frozen.
seventh
Oh,
generation.
The 2004 Benji might still be alive.
They're all frozen.
The one that was the Passion of the Benji.
I
that
only
one?
care about Benjine because Benjine was in Benji the Hunted, the only important Benji.
I just always
about
thought
the
that
first
they
Benji?
freeze them all, so eventually you could have like the Power
Unimportant.
Rangers episode where it's like all the Benjis.
All
at
the
once.
Benji.
They like
One
unfreeze
can
all the
swim.
Benjis.
One can kill animals. Yeah, they all have their own power.
One can act really well.
That's his power.
Dude, that dog.
That's all the Benjis.
Fucking can act
No,
for real.
like all seriousness, that dog is.
For
really good,
anyone listening who's
actually.
ever seen the Mr. Show sketch where it's those amazing actors and it's them like having to like rub peanut butter on two actors' faces so it looks like
To
they're
get them to
kissing and
kiss.
stuff.
Yeah.
Watching Benji at work, I'm pretty sure that's where they got the idea for it because they're just like, this is how we get Benji to do what Benji's gonna do. And it's all just like whipping and yelling from the sidelines like, go over there! Go over there, you stupid dog! Go over there! And that's exactly how I feel
It's
like it is
all
in
audio
actual movie.
editing.
They're like, God damn it, fucking Brad Pitt, go over there! No, don't walk towards me! Walk over there! And then, Hollywood magic. It just looks like movies.
Yeah, World War Z was just a series of people holding slices of bologna out, waiting for Brad Pitt to run after them.
I'm acting.
I'm acting.
And then it pulls away. And he's like, "Where'd it go? Where'd it go? That makes sense."
But there was a point where the kid's like, how does he like know how to be scared? And he's like, well, we just, you just have to remind him of stuff that evoke those emotions. He's like, so you actually scare him. Like
Right.
He was like, so then it's just
Yeah, that kid from Eight is Enough definitely
"Shame!
knew way more about how they were.
shame, and the
Yeah,
dog
he's
is just like, ah.
we
Well,
didn't
and
even
he
talk
goes-
about his trainer, but
Oh,
okay.
well, yeah,
Who
he-
looks like a fucking Captain Kangaroo pirate person.
If Rip Taylor was pretending to be Captain Kangaroo, that's
Yeah.
what he looked like.
This
Yeah, it was
guy,
definitely
like,
a captain's hat and
a
like,
giant ass. Like, his
ridiculous
ass was
beard.
Huge.
Oh yeah,
He was shaped like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
he was like a weeble.
Yeah.
He looks like a weeble wobble person.
Nah, he's less egg shaped, more like
A
balloony.
teardrop. He's like a
He's
teardrop.
real
That's what
balloony
weeble wobbles
in
look
the
like.
hip.
Teardrops.
No, they're more egg shaped.
The fact that you need
Okay.
to make a dog feel sadness just for a fucking movie is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Make him walk a tightrope and then make him sad.
The one scene they kept showing him film was Benji goes into a hotel and then they throw him down a set of 5 stairs onto the street.
Yeah.
And they had to do that a bunch of times. They were throwing the dog down the fucking stairs.
In their defense, it wasn't Milo and Otis Pad.
No,
Well, we
but
don't know because the
who
guy.
knows how many Benjis went straight into
Yeah.
traffic? We're just fucking crushed.
I looked
Tell
up.
us, Joe Camp. We want to know the
Yeah.
truth. How many Benjis
I actually
died?
looked up the
So
Milo
sorry.
and Otis director after listening to you guys' episode of
Uh-huh.
the podcast or whatever. And the guy who directed actually went on to be like the only like animal rights activist ever in Japan. Well, I mean, not ever, but like a big one in a country that animal rights is not really a thing that exists.
It's too little.
I thought you were gonna tell me to attack that dog behind
No,
me.
it's too little, too late, Kurt. He killed all his fucking animals.
Maybe that's
Fed
why I
on the
did it. Maybe
bears.
he just felt guilty. I don't know.
I mean, come on. There wasn't a Benji that died during Benji the Hunted.
See, I've never seen. This is the only Benji experience I've ever had.
This?
And I used to watch this all the time when I was super
This
young.
is like nothing.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Benji's crazy, dude. Wears glasses. He fucking has a boat. he
Matt's
can do
view
whatever.
of Benji.
Yeah,
is different
Benji
than the
did
rest
dress
of
up
the
like-
world.
If I watched, from what I understand of
I wanna
Benji the
throw-
Hunted, I consider it's like the dangerous game with Benji in it, right?
Sort of, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
Benji
It's
and
like the Rambo of Benji
so
movies.
it's like Gary
yeah.
Busey hunting.
Benji at Marineland
Benji.
dressed up like Justin Getka at
Benji
one
is-
point. Did we talk about that? He dressed up just like Justin Getka at one point.
Who?
Benji did. When he's wearing the sunglasses and shit, we were like, oh man, Benji looks just like Justin Getka right there.
Glasses are
What are
not
you
a
talking
costume.
about?
We talked about it while we were watching it.
Look, you never asked
I don't
about
remember
the
That was
fucking
during Benji at
donkey.
work, actually.
You
But
never
yeah.
asked
That's the
about
bonus theme of
donkey.
bonuses, though. There's always a character in a movie that's like Justin Gecko. That's our new.
Well, no, it just looks like him.
Oh, okay.
Didn't act like him.
I don't know, man. Benji takes
Dog
a
endangerment
dive.
night at the Marineland space.
It had a
And that would be
plot.
great. When
It
we
was a
starting to ruin
movie.
your
It
life.
no,
tonight.
it had a plot. It was a short film.
Yeah, get off its ass.
I mean, the fucking music sequences went on so long, man.
They
Well,
spent
yeah.
all their money
Yeah.
on what's his name with
Jesse Davis.
Jesse
Jesse Davis.
and
Yeah,
his fake fruit backup band.
I will say there was probably like a solid 10 minutes of that 34-minute movie was him singing.
Yeah, you could edit that down to 5 minutes. I mean, let's be honest.
We
I-
would
I
never
think-
know how drunk Benji
Yeah.
got before he started swimming. While I thought he was a donkey.
No, we didn't mention
They're
is that
making
scene with
you
the
worry
bird.
about if he's going to be able to do it or not, Bob.
We knew he could do it.
Well,
There's nothing he can't do.
dude, he could run for president. I would have voted for him after watching these fucking
She-
documentaries.
Can we talk about this? The bird for a second. That
Oh,
scene.
the gambling bird?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
his feet were all fucked up and weird,
I don't know why he was sitting the way he was. No.
and his head was cocked. It was like the
all of the puppets were terrible.
they're bad.
That's why the bird looked like that, because all the puppets were
like
terrible.
you know those troops that would visit your high school and to teach you like don't do drugs, like those puppets. It was that level of puppetry.
Yeah. It was.
It wasn't
awful.
quite that good.
Well, the mermaid was the only one that was done well. The
The
mermaid,
mermaid
was the
had
only one.
movable eyes because she looked at Benji and she like like her eyes widened because she
Oh,
was
yeah,
getting so
yeah.
horny looking at him.
I think you
Puppet's
imagine
eyes
that.
were just
The
peeling.
mermaid did not have movable eyes.
Her eyes like lids widened.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Matt would know. He's seen it like 10
eyes
times.
didn't
Yeah.
move.
This is his
No.
favorite movie.
It's
I'm just
one of the
saying-
best movies, because she would flitter her eyes, dude. with her
I think we
fucking
should go back and watch it
mermaid
right now because I think you guys are both wrong.
Puppet tits. It's insane. It's amazing.
I mean, look.
Why are you hating?
I'm just saying you guys were reading
What did you
way
like
more
better?
into cold dead puppet eyes than what was really going on in the eyes.
What did you like
That was all
better?
inside you guys.
Takes
Whatever.
a dive at Marineland or Benji at work.
Benji at
I mean,
work.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
what? I would never sit through Benji at work again.
Benji at work was really terrible,
It was
man.
boring.
Benji at work was, I think,
It was
more
insane.
ridiculous.
It was.
It was
Yeah.
more insane
Yeah.
to exist.
Yeah.
It seemed less real than Benji Marineland with all the puppet animals.
Yeah.
That seemed more in reality than Benji at work did.
Benji Takes a Dive is a roller coaster of excitement.
I
Benji
thi-
at work is boring. You
I
just
think
watch
Benji
somebody
at work
work.
reminds me of that Mr. Show sketch so much that the entire time I was just imagining people as Benji every time they're yelling at Benji. I was imagining them just screaming at like Gwyneth Paltrow or anyone like that. And that to me is why I think I enjoyed it, because I was filling in the holes.
That's fine.
I mean, it had Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman in it, and it had
Yeah.
Oh,
Omar
that's true.
Sharif, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They also implied that Benji had sex with Dr. Quinn.
Well,
they
there's the poster for Oh Heavenly Dog.
Yep, because he's looking.
He's looking
at her
through a
tits.
magnifying glass at her tits.
Ridiculous.
and they showed them in a bath together, and that's Chevy Chase in Benji's body. You know Chevy Chase.
I just want to bring up earlier. We never talked about like the implied rape threat of Pete against the girl in Buttercream Gang.
I don't think there was an
I don't think
implied
they
rape
were
threat. I think
implied
you
rape.
made that all up.
No, he said we're gonna get even with her, and he looked at them and they all giggled.
There's a look. There's stuff in Buttercream Gang we didn't cover, like the fact there was that montage of them doing evil shit around town.
Oh yeah,
And all of a sudden,
that
it was
was
first
good.
it was like nothing shit. It was just like, oh, we're gonna knock a trash can over. But then there was the scene where they light like a tree on fire.
No, it's a trash can on fire. I did that when I was 14, whatever.
The woods on fire.
It sounds
Whose
like I would do
trash
at
can
14.
was
Like,
that?
is that really that bad? God, Mr. Groff.
We didn't get to it
Such
enough. There's
silence.
So
The
much.
silence there because
We have too much. We're talking
it's
about
it's exhausting, man. What do we just watch? That was an insane twofer right there.
You're welcome. When I was that age when those were out, I probably would have watched this like 4 times a day.
We just experienced a piece of Matt's childhood,
Yep.
like in uniform.
And it explains so much.
That's why I'm not in any gangs, dude.
That's why Matt always does the right thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I want to be. I wanna live
Eldon,
in
you want to be
Elkridge.
Eldon.
Not Eldon. I want to be Scott.
Why'd you get fat?
Well, that doesn't matter
How come you never asked Margaret to the dance then?
because I don't know how to dance. I am a lot like Scott. See, I don't know how to dance.
You don't have to know how. You just do it, man.
Apparently, I don't know.
Just listen to the Australian DJ and just do your thing, man.
This is who I am.
I was gonna
It's
say
because of these films. What?
Outside of the Australian DJ, there was no minorities in that movie at all.
No, not a single black person, as far as the eye could serve.
It was just
But he said he wanted to change his name. His aunt was Hispanic.
it was Vasquez or
Vasquez or
Vasquez.
Valesky.
But I'm pretty sure whoever
Valesky.
made this movie was trying to spin that as like a negative thing that he wanted to have
because
a name like that. They
being
really, I'm
Mexican
pretty
was-
sure the ButterCream Gang was a pretty racist,
Oh,
terrible
they were
movie.
Aryans, to no doubt, to the bottom. They all had blonde hair.
You want to go to Chicago with those unclean people instead of with us here in Elkridge, Maryland?
Just stay here where it's perfect because there's no dark people. I gotta.
Was this available almost exclusively here? Was that a thing? I don't even know.
I don't know. Apparently, Sean Jones, former guest of the show,
Are we
doing
that? Are we-
The fact that it wasn't-
Is that a bonus
We don't have to do that. I just did that.
The fact that it wasn't
He said he had
filmed,
the workbook that comes with the video.
the fact that it wasn't
Jesus.
filmed in Maryland but takes place in Maryland is weird.
I hope one of the questions in the book is how fat is Eldon? It's like fat, super fat as shit.
Obese.
Like that he should go to the doctor. Like,
come on, that's
This is
the kid
1980.
Was
He
not
was
fat at all, and they never let him forget that he wasn't.
he broke something.
not thin.
No,
it was
the
a different
ending,
time
he
back
fell
then.
on a guy.
He jumped on the garbage. But any kid jumping ass end first into
Matt,
a
it
grown
was
man
because he
on
was
his
fucking a
chest.
fat piece of
He
shit.
was not a fat.
Didn't you
piece of
see when he wrote
weighed
his
3 pounds more than
Look,
everyone else?
we have to. This is it. We have to talk about the other kid.
Look, when
the
no,
other
no.
buttercreamer who didn't. I don't even know
Do
what
anything.
his name was.
Yeah.
He was so weird and ugly looking that his fatness wasn't even a question.
Yeah, he was
of how-
basically as fat.
He was just as fat as that other kid, but nobody ever brought it up because his head was a fucking mess. He looked like a little pig man, barrel body weirdo. No one ever addressed it.
You could tell who the fat one was supposed to be because when they rode over the creek, they zoomed in on his sweaty
Lord.
face and showed him not quite
He
make
was
riding
only
over the
one
creek.
sweating in the basement.
Yeah, they showed. They're like jumped over the creek, and they're like sweaty fat guy face. Oh, I only just barely made it because apparently if you're fat, you can't ride your
do
bike
anything.
over like 4 inches of creek or something.
He also made like 1 or 2 remarks about how like that's so terrible it almost makes me not want to eat.
Oh yeah, and also when they'd be like,
You know what I mean?
who
Like-
said he's gonna buy us treats? You know.
They said the only way they got him to stay at the one place was that he was like, I
Like,
offered him
I
a
gave him a
milkshake.
treat. Oh yeah, he's like,
Said,
I told him
gave
I'd buy him a
Yeah, I
milkshake.
told him I'd buy him a milkshake if he stood there. Fucking fat piece of shit.
When the widow fell over again, that they keep
There was like the
calling
other.
widow.
Dude, that kid was so not fat. It's disgusting how not
Well,
fat
now
he was.
especially he's not fat. Now it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
normal. That's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
American.
Oh, he's the
Yeah.
skinny guy by today's standards.
That's
Yeah.
another thing. Is like a coma patient is somebody who thinks it's like the 20s, 50s, and 90s all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like some 90-year-old man in a coma dreaming about the ButterCream Gang.
I mean, he doesn't think it's the 90s. He thinks it's like 1990.
I mean,
it's practically
there's
the
two-
80s. We just got into the 90s when
Oh,
the
yeah.
ButterCream Gang comes out.
There's 2 things we didn't see in that movie at all, and they were TVs and bathrooms.
No,
I'm just saying bathrooms to go with my
there was not a
Pleasantville
single
theory.
TV.
But they acknowledged their existence by talking about commercials. But they could have been radio commercials, I guess.
Did anybody talk on a phone?
They said
I
that
don't think there was
I
a
don't think there
phone,
was a
man.
they
phone.
said call the sheriff at one point.
Yeah, but they might have meant scream.
They meant scream for the sheriff.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean, in a
Sheriff.
town where a little girl has to fucking ride a bike 5 miles to run up a hill to scream
so
the
they can
boys.
break into a woman's house.
Yeah, anything's possible.
They're
So who wants to go perform some fucked up crimes in Elkridge? It sounds easy as shit.
I think we should take over Elkridge. Start another ButterCream Gang as evil and fucking tarnish the name
It
entirely.
be that hard. I don't think anyone's in Elkridge as it is now.
Dude, I bet with the
Just be like, hey, old
cutlery in
woman,
this kitchen,
not
we can
painting
take
your
over
fence. She'll be like, oh my God.
Let's go to somebody. Let's just look at the phone book
You
for
have to
somebody.
remind them of shit they need. Like, hey, that fence looks like it could use to be painted. Oh, that'd be really helpful. Fuck you, old lady. Like, ah, ButterCream Gang, bitch.
You just get people's homes.
Yeah. We're the ButterCream Gang. Fix my fence. Eat a dick, you old.
What, you said a widow fell over? That's okay.
We knocked
Let
that
the
bitch.
ambulance take care of that shit.
Let the authorities do it.
Was there taxpayer money going to these buttercreamers?
Yeah. That's the evil ButterCream Gang.
They
They just
were
walk
running
around being
town.
like, I will let the proper authorities take care of this. And they're all like, oh my God, these
Yeah.
evil ButterCreamers let the proper authorities take care of everything.
There wasn't even like like the kid got his the shit beat out of him, and they didn't even take him to the doctor.
Oh, come on. He got a black eye and a bloody nose. That wasn't the shit beat
I
out of him.
guess.
But even still, he was like, son, you got to just love him.
Yeah, like, are you okay?
None of that.
Look, you're a buttercreamer. You can take care of your own health.
Yeah, you knew that when you signed up to be a
I see you have a black eye and a bloody nose.
You were probably going to have to fight
Let me
people.
tell you a story about Vietnam. That's just like with the dad. It's just like, you got a black eye and a bloody nose? Let me talk to you about war.
A guy who died.
A guy who
I didn't
died.
know. I didn't actually like. And I don't even know if I.
Now I'm going to go fix my car in the rain. You go take care of your shit.
Dad was probably like had dementia. Let me tell you about this guy who died. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? He just wanders around.
It's tech.
The mother didn't exist. There were so many people
There's
who
so many
did
people
not
that
exist.
just swore. They're just kids running rampant. It's like Lord of the Flies. Just who was in charge of this town? Uh-oh.
Oh God.
Oh, you know what
I'm
that
glad we
means?
finally got done with ButterCream Gang. Time to move on to
Yeah.
Benji.
Yeah, it's time for Benji Dives At Marineland. We got to go back underground to visit the Morlocks.
Yay!
Yay! Bonus disc!
Boo.
You have just listened to Bonus Disc. Questions, comments, and movie suggestions can be posted to facebook.com/bonusdisc. Opinions and criticisms of the hosts and guests of Bonus Disc are 100% valid because they sit high atop Judgment Mountain. So quit your whining.
Are we still
Under the
talking on the
earth.
podcast?
Yeah.
right now? Oh, I thought we were done.
Now the
Your alarm
Morlocks
went
are
off.
mad, Kurt.
Oh God.
Let's go.
We didn't please.
Feel bad I
Bye.
said all those
Forever.
terrible things there.
No, we'll see you next week. 2 weeks. This was a disaster of an ending.
I thought you ended it like 5 minutes ago.
I take full responsibility. I'm sorry, everyone. It will never happen again.
I'm sorry we didn't watch a movie. We watched two things.
It rotted our brains out.
Bonus disc.